Never reminded, never taking.
Hey guys, it's Eric Megatech PC here with another moto vlog. I don't know if you're not doing it on the bike, is that really still considered a moto vlog? I don't know. But yes, it is a vlog, and I am not on the bike. I'm in my car, and wanted to make a video about this car because it's my new car, and it's actually a bit of a long story as to why I have a new car. So back in early October, I was coming home from work, and I work second shift, so coming home from work for me is like midnight. Deer came out, just jumped right out of the median, and I mean, I had just about enough time to go, ah! Basically caved in the whole front of my old car. It was a Hyundai Genesis sedan that I had since 2012. The car actually didn't stop driving. I was able to make it all the way home. I was probably still another 30 miles away from my house when I hit the deer, but I just kept going. And, you know, I was kind of keeping my fingers crossed, hoping that it wasn't, oh, you know, maybe it's not that bad. But I noticed pretty much right away that I had lost power steering, so I knew that couldn't be good. Sure enough, when I got pulled into my driveway, I got out to take a look, and the grill was just completely gone. And the radiator had been shoved all the way back up against the engine. And the power steering pump and reservoir actually had been sheared off. So that's why I didn't have power steering. Been looking at the new Honda Accord since it came out last year in 2018. I really like it. I also considered something like a 2016 or 2017 Camaro, the V6, not the V8. I wanted to try to keep my fuel economy up over 30 at least. I have the Aprilia for going fast. I don't need my car to be fast. What I really want is a car that looks really good, both on the outside and the inside, that, you know, drives well. Like, it doesn't have to be fast, but I like, you know, I want it to feel good. But basically, you know, the Accords just came out, and they were just too much money. I was trying to look for something under 20,000. The more I looked at it, the more I started to realize that there was one car that sort of fit the bill for everything that I was looking for, and also was still really affordable. And I'm sitting in it. So as you've probably been able to ascertain at this point, if you know anything about cars, this is a 2016 Mazda 6 Grand Touring. It is white with the parchment leather interior, and it's the Grand Touring, so it's fully loaded. It's got everything that you could get in a Mazda 6 in 2016. It's only 3 years old. It only had 18,000 miles when I bought it, so practically new. And I got it for just over $20,000. Now, I bought this car a little over a month ago, about a month and a half ago. I got it kind of in, I think it was like October 19th or something like that. So it's been, today's Thanksgiving, by the way. Happy Thanksgiving if you're in America. So it's been about a month and a half, and I've already put 5,000 miles on it. Especially when I buy a new car, I just drive the crap out of it. And of course with work also, I mean, you know, I'm putting 500 miles a week on it, just going back and forth to work. I have a pretty good idea of what I love about this car, what I hate about this car, and so I'm going to go over all that with you guys. And I also brought the drone with me, so I'm going to try to get some sweet B-roll footage. Kind of looking for a spot to do that right now. So the 2016 Mazda 6 came in 3 trim levels. You had the base Sport, you had the mid-range Touring, and the top of the line was the Grand Touring. Now in 2018 they did, it was more than a refresh but not a redesign. So they put the 2.5 liter turbo engine from the CX-9 into the Mazda 6 Grand Touring and up models. But back in 2016, all that was available was the engine this car has, obviously, the 2.5 liter naturally aspirated Skyactiv 4-cylinder, and it makes 184 horsepower and 185 pound-feet of torque. It's not fast, obviously, but it's also not, it doesn't fall all over itself. You know, when you put your foot down, it's adequate. It's definitely adequate. And the main killer thing about this car is it's one of the better handling, driving, front-wheel drive cars that I've ever had. Of course, it's also got the paddle shifters, and I will just give you a little so as you can see, it's not fast, but it handles well. I like the feel of the steering. I wouldn't say that there's a ton of feel. It is electric power steering, of course, but it's really quick. The acceleration is adequate. It is certainly not slow. It's just kind of average. It stacks up really well with its competitors, especially circa 2016. At that time, it had more power than the base Camry, the base Accord. You know, Mazda still to this day doesn't have a V6 option, but as I said, they have added the 2.5 liter turbo to the current Mazda 6, so you can get more power in it if you want. If not, you still get the same engine that's in this car, even for 2018. It's got a lot of the features that I really wanted in a car. It's got radar cruise control, so of course you can set your following distance, and it will speed up and slow down depending on what you've set your speed at, and depending on what's in front of you. I love that it puts the speed limit of the road, and then if you're going over the speed limit, it actually turns that sign red, the little speed limit sign, and then when you drop below, it turns white. So if you go above, it turns red, and you know immediately that you're going over the limit. In the windshield here, there's actually several cameras, and one of the cameras actually reads the speed limit signs as you drive past them, and that's how it knows what the speed limit is for whatever road you're on. For 2016, I think that's really brilliant. It's also got the camera up here works with the radar in the emblem of the front grille to do emergency collision mitigation. It's got emergency braking. It's got something called Smart City Stop or something like that, where if you're just kind of in stop and go traffic at low speed and you're not paying attention, you're looking down or whatever, and somebody stops short right in front of you, it'll stop for you to keep you from getting into like a little minor fender bender. And then it's got, of course, just, you know, normal collision mitigation, where if the sensors and the camera calculate that you're not going to stop in time or avoid a collision is imminent basically, then it will apply full braking for you. A lot of people have criticized this heads-up display on this car. People don't like that it is a little plastic panel that raises and lowers when you turn the car on. It would be nice if it would just displayed, you know, projected on the windshield. But as I've driven the car and gotten used to it, I really don't mind it, and I actually love having it. I've got my cruise control information in there, my following distance, my speed, and I found that I really just don't even look at the speedometer in the gauge cluster. I really just look at the heads-up display, and it means that I don't really have to take my eyes off the road at all. Like, even when I'm looking right at my speed, I'm still looking right in front of me. I love having it regardless, and if this is how they had to implement it 3 years ago, then whatever, I'm just glad to have it. One criticism I do have of it is that it's just a monochromatic sort of light green digital display, sort of like a old school digital clock. In 2017 they changed this. It was still the pop-up little screen there, but they changed it to a full color display, which I think would definitely look a little nicer. Other features, obviously it's full keyless entry, push button start. You never have to take your key out of your pocket. It's got dual climate. Clearly it's got navigation. I like the little command control setup down here where you can go to your home screen or to your music information, and then you can just use this dial to move back and forth through the options. It's also got the volume button here, so I don't have to reach up here to turn the volume up and down. Obviously it's got on the steering wheel volume control, but you also have the little knob right there. Of course, there's your cruise control information on the right of the steering wheel, and on the left you've got audio controls. You've got your little information screen. You can flip through those menus. Digital fuel gauge. One weird thing about this car, there is literally no temperature gauge in this gauge cluster. All you get is a little light at the bottom that's blue, and it's like a little blue thermometer that just tells you that the car is cold. And when the car warms up, or the engine warms up, that thermometer disappears. And so I guess presumably, as long as you don't see any thermometer, the engine's in a correct temperature range. Apparently it'll come back on red if the engine is overheating. Come on, Mazda. I mean, I would really like to know if my engine is getting... I don't want to know that it's overheating. I would like to know before it actually overheats. So a gauge would be nice. You're not going to know what your engine temperature is. So that's definitely something I don't like about this car. I already showed you the paddle shifters. It's an actual 6-speed automatic gearbox. It's not a CVT, which was another reason that I really like this car. All the Accords that are not the 2.0 are all CVTs. So if you get even if you get a Accord Touring or Sport without the 2.0 turbo engine, it's got a CVT. Well, of course, you could get a 6-speed with the Sport. I wanted real gears, and I'm just to the point where, like, I drive so much and I commute so much. I think that I just don't think that a manual's for me anymore. I've always loved manuals, but I don't know, the past 7 years I've had that Genesis, and it was an automatic, and I've just gotten so used to having my hands free to do stuff that I need to do. I don't know. At any rate, if this car is offered with a manual, but you have to get the base of the Touring. The Grand Touring, you can't get a manual, so go figure. I don't know why they optioned it like that. Another complaint that I heard about this car when it first came out with this interior redesign was the people moaning about the stuck-on tablet sort of display. Well, now that's become kind of ubiquitous throughout the automotive landscape. I mean, it seems like almost every car now has this sort of tacked-on tablet display. I think the current Mazda 6 has an 8-inch, so they made it a little bit bigger, but it's fine for me. It's got the 11-speaker Bose stereo, which actually sounds pretty good. Genesis had a 17-speaker lexicon system, and I maintain that is still to this day the best car stereo I've ever heard. But the one in this Mazda 6 is really good, and it's not the base one. The base one I think only has 6 speakers, but if you get the Grand Touring, I think it comes with the upgraded sound system in the Grand Touring. This car also has the tech package, and the tech package includes the radar cruise control, and it also has active headlights, LED headlights. They actually turn when you turn the steering wheel. The headlights swivel in whatever direction you turn the steering wheel, which is pretty nice. And the headlights in this car are awesome. The LED headlights, low beam and high beam, and it's also got LED fog lights. I love the DRLs on this car too. If you have the Grand Touring from 2016 and 2017, it's got some little ring. It's like a half ring that surrounds the actual headlight. That's a white LED, and it looks really nice. And I'll try to put some footage of that when it gets darker, so you can see what I'm talking about. This is my 2016 Mazda 6 Grand Touring. I don't know if you can see the LEDs in here, but it goes all the way down and around. Wish it was darker. I'll show that to you better. And I don't know if you'll be able to see the taillight, but that's kind of the element there. Kind of see. And you come around to the passenger side. But the really cool thing is that line that goes around the projector continues into the grille. So the grille, the outline of the grille is LED, and at night you can see the LED is back, or the grille is backlit with this white LED all the way around it. which is, it really looks good. I've never seen that on any other car. I didn't even know that it had that until I started looking into buying this car. I had never seen that in person and never knew that it even did that. So really pretty cool stuff. I'm going to try to find a spot here to put the drone up and get some cool footage of the car, the outside of the car. But that'll do it for now. I will it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna say.
They said, don't fall. Don't forget all the things you've been taught, you've been told. Don't blink, don't run. Don't turn left or turn right or look straight at the sun. My mind's going in circles, I'm trying to fight it. Getting these voices inside to stay quiet. Gone to the place